It's live. It looks like it is. Okay, great. Okay, let us begin. Welcome back, everybody. We are continuing our Learn All Shulchan Aruch course from the beginning. We were up to Siman Daled. That's stuff prior to the holidays, prior to studying the holiday laws in the month of Elul, and we are continuing from Siman Daled. We're following in the English in this book, Awakening Like a Jew. We have already done most of the book throughout the chapters, and we are right now in chapter 4 in the book, likewise corresponding to chapter 4 in Shulchan Aruch, Siman Daled. We are up to Siman Daled, Sif Daled. A little bit of a recap of what we did till now so we can continue from where we left off. We discussed Natilas Yadayim, that the morning washing that we do in the morning is done for several reasons. One of the main reasons why we do this washing is to remove a very terrible impurity from our hands that comes onto it during sleep called Bas Melech. We went through in length the first three halachas in this chapter, which discusses the restrictions applicable prior to getting rid of this great impurity and its danger that it poses to the different body parts, the clothing, and how you're not allowed to walk for amos prior to washing your hands, as the Zohar states. We went through all those restrictions in detail. We discussed that in addition to the need to remove this dangerous impurity from your hands, the sages established that one should proactively wash his hands, not just to get rid of the impurity, but in order, as a command, to purify yourself before you start serving God. In other words, we don't just have to wash hands so we don't endanger our bodily limbs when we touch them. So in other words, that when we wash our hands at the end of the meal so we don't have sodomite salt on them, there's no blessing said because that's just a matter of danger. You're washing to get rid of danger. Do I say a bracha when I look to the right and left when I cross the street? Do I say a bracha? Why not? It's a mitzvah, right? It's a mitzvah to guard your body because no mitzvah bracha was established on something that wasn't a direct and unique command. So why do we say a bracha upon washing? As in addition to the aspect of getting rid of danger, you also have a proactive command of the sages to go ahead, purify yourself like a kohen in the morning, like a kohen would do whenever he entered the temple to prepare for work in the temple service for God. So to every Jew is like a kohen every morning, and you have to prepare yourself. That's what we pretty much were up to until now. We are now going to go into the details. Different details of the washing. We're up to Sif Daled. In continuation of the laws that the Mechaber brought regarding the restrictions that apply prior to washing hands, that we said you can't touch different orifices such as your ears, your nose. So he says that even a person who already washed hands should never put his finger too much in two areas. One is no longer relevant today, thank the one above, that we have toilet paper, but back then when there was no toilet paper, people used to use their hands without a choice. In many Eastern countries, that is in fact what is still done today. They don't use toilet paper for whatever reason. So he says a person should avoid doing so as it can lead to an illness called tachtoinias. Not sure what this refers to, but possibly hemorrhoids, for a very simple reason. Toilet paper is meant to be clean, it's disinfected, it doesn't carry disease. Hands are in a lot of different places, and a person can, bring bacteria to that sensitive area. So therefore, he writes that a person should avoid, even outside of the aspect of washing your hands in the morning, you should avoid touching the area. And also another uncommon and not very practical message, he says you shouldn't touch the area of the wound of bloodletting. It used to be back in the people used to bloodlet a lot for health reasons. Today we don't do it anymore. So he says avoid touching the bloodletting areas. Okay, that's Sif Daled, Sif Hey.
What about just used to have an open wound? It's not intentional.
That is true. Before you wash, what's the problem?
He doesn't have the new link for it. So keep going.
We did explain that just like a person is prohibited due to danger from touching his ears, his nose, before he washes his hands in the morning because of the impure spirit, so too, he is not allowed to touch the opening of a wound. So yes. But once you've already washed your hands, then a person is allowed to touch the wound, obviously if his hand is properly cleaned. Sif Hey. Layiga begigis sheikha shemishumush hayad mafsid hasheikha. Okay. Here's this halacha is saying the following. Before a person washes hands, he shouldn't touch the beer that is in the barrel, as it causes the impurity to go to the beer and can cause it to need to be thrown out. We already discussed this in length. One of the restrictions were that you're not allowed to touch food or drink. It's based on the Talmud prior to washing hands. As if a person does so, it can prohibit the food from being eaten. We discussed the different options b'diavad in the previous classes.
Me and the room, because we had to redo it. I stuck, I had to redo the whole thing, so needs a new room. Needs a new room. One that's not, the one that doesn't say Aruch, is the only type. Okay, thanks.
In the wording of the Mishnah Berurah, he writes, nonetheless, if you already touched it, we shouldn't prohibit the food through this, but initially you want us to be very careful not to touch any food. And if you did, then he should wash it 3 times. And so too, a person should not drink smoke of tabak before washing hands. Isn't that a funny term? That's how they used to term, that was the term used for smoking. Drinking ashan tabak. They called it drinking. They didn't have a term called smoking.
Oh,
Yeah, in Hebrew. So it says you can't smoke before Tzilat. Right. Sif Vav. Okay, now we're getting into the nitty-gritty details of the laws of washing hands in the morning and its associated details. Ein tzarich revi'as tzilas yadayim l'tefillah. The Mechaber here starts off first with the laws of washing hands before davening. Is one of the reasons why we wash hands in the morning is so we prepare for prayer. So he says, when you wash before prayer, you don't have to have a revi'as of water in the vessel. Let me explain what this means. We went through a discussion in the Rishonim in previous classes, the Rambam and Rosh versus the Rashba, regarding if you are required to wash hands prior to every prayer. And we said the following: although the Rambam rules that you have to wash hands before every prayer, and you even say a blessing, we rule that you do not.
say that one more time. We just repeat that.
Even though the Rambam holds that you have to wash hands with a blessing prior to every prayer, we rule that we rule like the opinion says that you do not. However, we suspect for his opinion, we take his opinion into account, and therefore, bottom line halach, we do require you to wash hands before prayer. So before Shacharis and Harav, you have to wash your hands beforehand. Now, how much water do you have to use? The Rambam holds it's a real washing. You need to have a revi'as. You need to have, how much is a revi'as? 86 milliliters. Not a lot, but at least that amount. Okay, you need to have 86 milliliters of water. However, we rule that you don't have to. And the bottom line halach is the following: even though we are accustomed to take a Negelwasser cup and wash our hands 1, 2, 3, like in the morning before davening, that is a midas chasidus. It is an act of piety. It's not an obligation. The obligation is any water, any amount. You don't even need a vessel. Just turn it on, turn the faucet. That's the main thing.
The first waking wash?
No. This is before prayer wash. Now, by first waking wash is a good question. We'll get to that. Okay. We'll get to that. But this is in general before prayer, Shachris Mincha Ma'ariv. So it doesn't follow the laws of washing that we know. So in other words, we have certain washings that follow all these restrictions, and we have certain washings that don't follow any restrictions. The main thing is just water. So for example, if you're late to daven and you want to catch the minyan, and there's a line of 3 people waiting to do Negelwasser, and there's only one, so just go to the next faucet, turn it on, go quickly like this, and go. And then you don't need anything else. That is a perfect washing. Okay, Sif Zayin. What is the status of the washing that we do in the morning to get rid of the impurity that the sages established to do before Shacharis? So the Mechaber says the following: before washing for bread, we have a whole bunch of laws related, brought in Maseches Yadayim, brought in the Shulchan Aruch, starting from chapter 1, 57, and we have also a whole bunch of halachas brought in the Alter Seder Natilas Yadayim. There's a whole list of laws and regulations that have to do with washing hands. For example, what if you have mud on your hands? You have ink on your hands, so you have to get rid of it. Can I wear my ring? Can a woman wear a ring while washing? Chatzitza. Can I use water that somebody washed dishes with? What are the valid waters that can be used? There's laws regarding what if you touch somebody's hand after you washed, and they didn't wash yet. There's all of these applicable laws that apply by washing hands for bread. And the question is asked, do we apply those as well to the washing in the morning? Do all those restrictions that are learned much later in Shulchan Aruch by washing for bread apply likewise here? So the Mechaber says the following wording: it's proper to be careful by the morning washing to abide by all those invalidating details discussed when washing for bread. So the position of the Mechaber in the Shulchan Aruch is, yes, you should abide by everything that is learned over, everything that is taught over there should as well be followed here as well. The Ramah, however, says, the Ramah argues and says no. In my opinion, it's different. They're not the same, and therefore you don't even need to have a vessel for the morning washing. Just like we said for washing for davening, you don't need a vessel. So too, you don't need a vessel. And he says it doesn't even have to be the power of a human. Another law by washing for bread, it has to be koyach gavra. So, for example, if a monkey came and washed my hands, is it valid? No, because a monkey is not a human, unless you follow Darwin, evolution, Darwin. And so he says no. The shardva person is Yadayim, they don't apply here. He doesn't agree with the Mechaber.
The morning washing.
Now notice, correct. And notice even the Mechaber just said it's good to be careful. He didn't say you have to. So while that is their opinion, the Alter Rebbe did the following. In his first version of the Shulchan Aruch, he went like the Ramah. In his Siddur, he paskin that you absolutely need to follow all the laws brought in Til Sedayim for a meal, and if you didn't, the washing is invalid. Now, Alter Rebbe took a U-turn between a Siddur and Shulchan Aruch, and he ruled stringently, and therefore he rules everything we follow and that can invalidate a washing when you're washing for bread, to the T, we follow those laws as well in the morning. So you must have a vessel. It's not just a lichatchila, it's a nice thing. You must
have a towel there.
Well, very good. That's why we wash the second time with a towel in the morning, yes. When we do our second washing after the bathroom, we wash with a towel.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's not just Hasidic machmirness, that's the Alter Rebbe changing.
Correct.
It becomes the Alter Rebbe's basic law, we could say.
Correct.
So you can wash by your bed into a shissel,
Right.
and you can pick up the shissel with your wet hand, you can dump it in the bathroom, you can dry it off, go to use the bathroom, and then wash again, and with a towel, dry it, and go outside
Correct.
and say,
Correct. One of the reasons why you need to wash again is because the first washing, we didn't use a towel. And since we didn't use a towel, it was an invalid washing for the halachas of washing for
You haven't rinsed out your mouth yet.
Right, okay, that's already not an invalidating aspect.
Is this overlapping with, or sort of going over in a slightly different way what we did the first time around when we got into the whole details about keeping the butter under your bed, near your bed, and not even stepping on the ground and all that? Is this overlapping with that?
Why overlapping? No.
Are we not going on?
That was, but we finished that. That was the previous session.
But this is, we're sort of going back over this and talking.
No,
about-
now, chapter 3 and the first four sifim here, we're discussing the restrictions prior to washing. Now we're discussing the washing itself. This is new material. This is chapter 4 in the book. We never did it yet.
But there's a little bit of overlap because we were talking about, so that, all that material we learned before about not even.
Were the restrictions applicable before washing, and now we're learning about the actual washing itself. It's like, what can't you do if you don't wash for bread? You can't eat bread. Now, okay, so let me wash. What are the laws of washing? So that's what we're doing.
Okay, so all of this gets bolted on to the whole issue of the Lubavitch way of it from the time of Chinuch, we put the Negovas right by the bed.
No, putting the Negovas right by the bed, that is related to the restrictions, so you don't walk for hours. That we discussed already.
Right.
We're gonna get more into those details of the Negovas bucket, etc. We'll get into that.
The other Rebbe is saying then is that we have to wash just like we do with bread 3 times.
Correct.
That's what this is the focus of. This is the focus of this.
Well, no, the 3 times, that's already written in the Talmud. No, that's not the Alter Rebbe. The idea is that you need to have a vessel that needs to be from human. So let's go through some of the things. Let's go through that right now. Some of the things that as a result of this statement that we just made that apply by the morning. So now we're moving on to here. In the book. This is again an explanation or a clarification of practically what does a person have to be careful in when washing in the morning, because we said that you should lechatchila follow the same laws as washing for bread. So number one must use a vessel to pour the water in intensive morning washing. If there is no vessel available, and you have, let's say, a river available, we're going to discuss that later on. It's going to be discussed what to do. But again, this is the ruling of the Alter Rebbe in his Siddur and in his Basra, unlike the ruling of the Ramah, and the Mechaber even also gave a little bit room for leniency. So now that we've discussed that you must have a vessel, according to the final conclusion, can you use a disposable vessel? Is a disposable cup valid for use whenever a cup is needed?
Say it one more time.
Whenever, this is not the only halacha that a kli is needed. A kli is needed for washing for bread. That's the main halacha. A kli is needed, as we just learned based on the final ruling, when washing in the morning. A kli is needed when you make kiddush. There's many laws that require a vessel. Is a disposable vessel a valid vessel? Let's say I don't have, I'm away and I'm a hotel and they have plastic cups. Can I prepare water in a plastic cup? Can I do kiddush in a plastic cup? Is it considered a vessel? So this is a major debate amongst today's poskim. Some say it is a problem because a disposable vessel doesn't last. It's meant to be thrown out right away, and therefore doesn't have a shem kli. It can't receive tuma, therefore doesn't have the halachic status of a vessel. So it's as if you're washing in invisible air. It's as if there is no vessel holding the water. So they hold it's not good. Others, however, argue and say it is valid. Practically, this is a machlek, because that's why whenever a vessel is required according to halacha, such as the examples I gave, it's better to avoid using disposable. Okay? If that's the only thing available, then that's what's available, so use it. You can be lenient. But if there's something else available, don't lechatchila use plastic if you have a becher right in front of you. You have a real. Why enter debate if you can avoid the debate? Why enter into a jam traffic road if you can go a back road? Right. So this is the idea of avoiding the dispute.
You even have the disposable bechers, so they look like a becher. They're all shiny plastic.
Correct. Well, a lot of people like saving those. We save ours every
then it's not disposable.
Pesach.
Are handles important? What have a nice solid vessel, but that doesn't have handles? Are handles important?
Okay, so
It seems like they're supposed to be.
Okay, good question. The answer is that there's actually no discussion in halacha regarding handles because it's not a requirement.
Yeah.
It's just something that helps you hold the vessel. It's not a requirement. Now, where the handles do come in useful is obviously technically help you do the technical act of juggling the vessel and pouring it. Sounds like the handle of a pot, right? But also it helps you when you have two handles that then you can avoid getting water from one hand to another, which by washing for bread is a problem. If I washed 1, 2, 3, and as I'm passing the cup to the next hand, I did a little touch. This hand needs to be rewashed. This hand needs to be washed. They both have to be dried beforehand. So I got to restart the whole process because this just impure this up. The Alter Rebbe learns, because the Alter Rebbe says everything that we do by bread, we also do here. He doesn't take the approach, it's a good thing. He doesn't take the Ramah's approach, it's not a problem. He's very strict, and that's the way we follow. So therefore here as well, if you get your hand touched the water of the other hand or the other hand while your hand is still wet, you transfer impurity, you have to restart the whole process again. So the advantage of having two handles is that they separate from each other. Now, it used to be that they used to make Nagelwasser cups with only one handle. They only used to have one handle. It's new to me.
You still see them around.
Yeah, I haven't seen them. Maybe only old school people, antiques. But it says that Rabbi Parcher was machmir that he had a special 3-handle Nagelwasser cup made for him for the 3 washings. 3 handles, yes. He had 3 handles made for him.
So
but
you leave water on you touch the water that was.
Even it's not water on your hand. The water on your hand got onto the handle, and then this hand touches the handle. It's still
transferred. At the wedding.
Exactly. That is why we use the towel. That is exactly why we use a towel. Yes.
With the beginning of the other. Yeah. We're guarding our hand against the water that might have.
It's not that you have to use a towel. It's that you cannot allow. Now, the best way of facilitating that is by using a towel. If you don't use a towel, it's kind of hard. Especially in the morning washing. In the wash for bread, it's just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's not that much switching, but in the morning, it's 1. We're doing right.
Okay. Question on that.
Yes.
I personally use a towel only after I've washed one hand. Then I take a towel or paper towel, grab the other side of the cup, and wash the opposite hand. I see a lot of buffering, especially take paper towel before they wash either hand, and wash, and then I'll get a new paper towel and grab the other side and wash. So they won't touch the The first time without a paper towel or a towel. Why?
That's a good question.
What's the concern?
Right. Maybe the concern is that somebody else wasn't careful and they have the tumah of their hands on that handle.
So you're going to wash the hand that's holding the handle.
Yeah, but correct, but it doesn't take off someone else's tumah. It doesn't take off another hand's tumah. So if you're the first one to touch the cup, then I agree with you. There's no need. But if you're not the first one, you never know what's on there. So that's one of the reasons why you would.
Basically, the first one today, because if it was wet an hour ago and it's still wet,
correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Good to know.
Yeah. Okay, so that's regarding. That's regarding U.S. So handles don't invalidate a vessel; they just make the halachic, the ability to do a halachically proper washing more easy. Okay, what does a person do if there is no vessel available? I don't have a vessel; all I have is a sink. This sometimes happens when you're in a hotel room. Yeah. There's no cup. There's nothing for you to use. What do you do? So can I just turn on the sink? So the problem with the sink is that the sink is a vessel, so it does fall under a kli, according to halacha. But we said before that we rule, unlike the Ramah, that you need to have kayach gavra. Now, when you turn on the water, it's the pressure that's making it come through. It's not human hands. It's like a monkey washing my hands.
Well, you have to turn on the water.
Correct. And I have to own the monkey, and I have to tell the monkey. You always have to do something, but you're not the direct cause of the water. So because of this, what you have to do is the following: is you should put your hand under the spout and turn it on, and that one stream that happens right when you open it is a result of your action. And just the later, that's not. But you have to do that for each time. So you have to open, close, open, close, open, close for a total of 6 times till you get all 3 hands. Both of your hands.
My instinct, I have done this before, not knowing that I was covering myself. Interesting. Because once you turn it on, it's running by itself. That's the idea.
Now, someone once told me the Mishnah Berurah doesn't hold of this. The Mishnah Berurah writes, when he discusses this, that you don't have to open it and close it each time. He says you can just open it once. Let's read his words. It says like this: you don't need to have a vessel in order to remove the evil spirit, the bas melech toma, the impurity, and therefore even if you don't have a complete vessel, meaning you don't have a kosher vessel, you're allowed to wash your hands from a vessel with a hole or from a sink, a plump, he calls it, a sink, a spout.
That's the Ramah.
This is the Mishnah Berurah. This is the Mishnah Berurah. Even though it doesn't have kayach gavra, even though it's not considered your own strength. However, I told him that where does this Mishnah Berurah? Mishnah Berurah is a commentary. What is he commenting on? The ruling of the Ramah. We already said that we don't hold of the Ramah. We are absolutely, it's required, and you cannot say a bracha. You didn't fulfill the mitzvah. You didn't do the mitzvah if it doesn't
all
follow.
three agreed originally.
Yes, in a Shulchan, correct. Correct. There's two things here. And this is a little bit of a deeper, delving in a little deeper to understand the U-turn the Alter Rebbe made, or Bechlal. What's the Mechaber also said it's good to be careful. Why? Either you have to, or you don't have to. What's going on here? It goes like this. We already introduced in previous classes and in the beginning of this class that washing hands in the morning is accomplishing a few things. You're getting ready for prayer. You're getting rid of impurity. You're getting yourself ready to serve God like a kohen. You're doing a lot of things. The question is, what type of washing accomplishes those? So it could be that to get rid of the impurity, you don't need a vessel, you just need water. It could be to get rid of the impurity, you don't need to follow the exact laws of washing for bread. But for the other preparations of davening or for the preparation of a kohen, you do need to fulfill them. So while it may get rid of your impurity, it may not accomplish the proper washing you need for the other reasons.
So from what you just said, it sounds like that the morning original washing or after modani, whatever it is,
just to get rid of the impurity.
But it counts for the chakra stand. It sounds like you just said. Because you're being careful to do it as a before prayer activity. So
the one that next to your bed, the first washing?
Yeah, that counts for chakras?
Well, it doesn't count for chakras because you're about to go to the bathroom. So you can't, a washing to prepare and then unprepare the preparation you did doesn't work.
Okay.
So you wash to get rid of, impurity of touching myself, and then I just went to the bathroom afterwards.
Right.
So it's only the washing done directly before Shacharis that prepares for Shacharis.
Okay, so do we have to, but it sounded like you just said we were sort of particularly machmir about this morning washing in order to cover.
Correct. That's why we wash twice. We wash the first time to get rid of the impurity so we can walk and do other things. Then we wash a second time to do it properly, so for the other reason.
Before
You just say bracha on the tefillah,
Yeah.
Sometime before Shacharis. And
Well, you're supposed to do it right away. We're going to learn that.
we're gonna wash the moment we get up and then we wash again?
You're supposed to
Wait.
wash, go to the bathroom, and
Wash.
within a few minutes later, wash
Yeah,
again.
Wash
Yes.
right after the bathroom, but that looks like if you're washing thoroughly after the bathroom washing.
It may look the same, but that is the washing of the morning. That's the
That
official
covers
bracha
both-
washing.
That covers both then. After you go to the bathroom, you're washing
Correct.
to come out the
Correct.
after wash,
Correct. Yes.
right? And you're,
Mhm.
okay.
After that washing and you say on the tefillah, right? Suppose you sit down and have breakfast, you have coffee and whatever,
Mhm.
not bread, obviously, but, and then you go to shul. You need to wash again at shul for Shacharis?
Right. So, good question. So,
And in between minute tomorrow, you need
right.
to.
So as we said before, there's three things a washing is accomplishing. Any washing you do can technically be valid for washing before Shacharis. As we already said, you don't need a vessel. Not everyone agrees with it. You don't need a vessel. You don't need all the restrictions. The question is, did you guard your hands from the time you washed until you're now walking into shul for Shacharis? If a long time passed by and you forgot about guarding your hands, then you have to wash again. So that's really the answer. So if you wash your hands at home and walk straight to shul, then no, you already did your washing. If you wash your hands at home, sat down for breakfast, learned a little bit, talked and schmoozed, and then you walk to shul, then you have to wash again.
Or if you went to the bathroom again before.
Correct,
then
if you
that
wash your,
covers.
yes.
It can cover for two things?
Yes, absolutely.
After bathroom washing can cover for that.
Yeah. When we dump in the mikveh, we get rid of like 400,000 types of impurities. So covers, that's, some people, they make a mistake. They think you have to table to get rid of every impurity. So they double 500 times.
So you
One immersion gets rid of everything.
have to take care to do it. Oh, you don't have to have that careful about the washing, even if it was just for prayer and not for, I'm sorry. The bathroom washing you once said could be like the chick-chock, just. washing
Correct.
your
It's
hands.
similar to the prayer washing, yes.
So that
Doesn't, no
covers-
restrictions.
That covers. But better to do the three, the better.
Yes,
To do.
that's the minhag, correct. Okay. The order of the washing. Regarding the order of the washing, so following what we said earlier, that we should follow the same way that we wash in the morning, wash for bread, should be followed in the morning. So therefore, the Alter Rebbe writes down in all the parts of the Shulchan Aruch, as well as, this is based on the Arizal, that one should wash in the following way. This is for washing for bread and for washing in the morning. That the Chatchila one is to take the vessel filled with water in the right hand, pass it to the left hand, and then begin washing the left over the right. In other words, you can say, what are we wasting our time for? What are we living in hell? Anyways, how long am I using my left hand to pour? So I'll pick it up with my left hand. I just saved half a millisecond. Times that by all the days of my life. I've saved a lot of time. The answer is, based on Kabbalah, you're supposed to pass it from right to left.
Same idea for the Kiddush cup?
Exactly. Yes. By Kiddush, we pick it up with the right, pass it to the left, and put it back to the right. And the reason is because right is chesed. We want to do everything with chesed. Even when the Gvura has to do something, we want to give it to him from chesed.
You give tzedakah with our right hand also, right?
Correct. Correct. Okay, so that's number one. We pick it up with our right to the left.
Havdalah, is that important for Havdalah?
Everything, yes.
Havdalah too?
Yes. And that one needs to pour on the right hand first. The reason why we pour on the right hand first is because we always give precedence to the right, and that's why by all washings, we always pour on the right hand first to give it its honor. Now, what does a lefty do? Which hand do they pour on first?
I guess the opposite.
So lefties are a complex situation, and in halacha, it's also a debate. Some say, when it comes to these things, it has nothing to do with what the lefty personally, which hand is personally his stronger hand or not. It has to do with the spheres. The right hand is chesed by everybody, even lefties. The left hand is grew by everybody, even lefties. So therefore, they too should pick up on the right, pass the left, and then pour on the right. Because we need to have chesed to grew to chesed. Others of our arguments say, that's Kabbalistic stuff. We have to look at which is your stronger hand that does most of your work. You got to honor the breadwinner of your body. So by a lefty, it's his left hand that's the one who's the breadwinner.
So they
you
think
gotta
I
honor
am
him
my
first.
body, but when we know I am my neshama. I am a neshama.
Well,
You know,
actually, this is where it gets interesting. The Poskim Halacha is are the one who take the Zoharic approach and say wash on the right because it's Chesed,
yeah.
while the Alter Rebbe and Tzemach Tzedek take the Halachic approach and say wash on the left because it's a stronger one.
Ah,
Yes.
wow.
So those who ask me and follow the Bavitch Minhag about the Alter Rebbe's rulings in Tzemach Tzedek, I tell them to wash on the left.
Same as the right hander is.
No, a person who's right-handed washes on his
wash-
right first.
Yeah,
They wash on their left first.
Okay.
Hmm.
Understand first.
If you are washing someone else's hand on their behalf, you should also use your right hand to pour based on the exact explanation we said before. So we always use the right for these things.
You're allowed to do that only under certain circumstances, have somebody else do it for you if you're sick or something?
So I haven't seen that brought down. It doesn't, also in the laws of Netilas Yadayim for bread, I don't recall any preference that a person does it himself versus somebody else.
I thought you had to do it by the power of your own hand.
No, it has to be the power of a
Human hand.
human hand, even a guy,
Other human.
even a guy,
Interesting.
just human.
Interesting.
Has to be human. Goyim are human too.
Mhm.
Just animals are not.
Mhm.
So it doesn't, it's not brought down there's a preference. Or there is, you can say a preference in a person doing a mitzvah on his own than having someone else do the mitzvah for him. Maybe that you can argue. But nonetheless, it's a whole bunch of discussion there about people pouring water in your hands, etc. So I don't know how to answer from a halachic perspective, but definitely from, usually we try to do a mitzvah ourselves. Okay, let's go into the amount of times we need to wash. So the Alter Rebbe brings down in his Shulchan Aruch the following, that the Talmud and Zohar, when they discuss this washing, are in agreement that in order to get rid of the impurity, you must wash 3 times on each hand. Let me explain. In general, we rule, let's say for washing for bread, which we keep on saying, that the Alter Rebbe says it's exactly the same, you can't move from there, you got to follow everything it says there. By there, it's more lenient.
The bread's more lenient
Yes.
than the morning.
Technically, min hadin, when you wash for bread, all you need to have is a revius of one single washing.
Mhm.
And many people do that.
Yeah.
Many people of Litvish Jewry, they wash one time with a revius of water. They're done. Say the bracha. Once.
Half a revis on each hand.
No, a full revius
Full
on each
revius on
hand.
each hand, okay.
Yes, a full revius on each hand. Now, the Alter Rebbe and the Siddur rules like the Ravid that says that we suspect that even a revius receives impurity. So those who are mach like the Alter Rebbe and the Siddur wash twice on each hand. 1, 2, 1, 2, we're done. The whole idea that we in Chabad wash 3 times on each hand is a huge chiddush.
Mhm.
It's not even written in the Alter Rebbe Siddur.
Hmm.
It's a custom that we received from the Rebbe Rashab. It is mentioned in previous poskim. It's not new per se that no one ever did it before, or no one ever discussed it, but it wasn't. It's not the more prolific custom. I believe only Chabad today washes 3 times by bread. Now, but the point is that technically you don't need the 3 times. Even we agree you don't need the 3 times. We do it for a specific reason, but not because we say if you didn't wash 3 times, it's no good. Even we agree if you wash twice, it's good. However, when it comes to washing in the morning to get rid of the impurity, the Talmud and Zohar state you must have 3 times. Less than 3 doesn't wash off the impurity, so you have to have the 3.
Exactly.
Now, some poskim even go as far and rule that you need to have 4. You know who does this? Those who follow the Gra, the Vilna Gaon. They wash 4 times on each hand. Why? As they say, the 3rd washing is still impure. So now that you wash 3 times to get rid of the tumah from your hand, now get rid of the tumah on the water that's on your hand. So you got to wash that away too. So they wash a 4th time.
Well, so then you still have the 4th time you're still left with, wait a second.
You need to do 3 times to get rid of the impurity from the hand. But now where's the impurity left on? The water that's on your hand.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get rid of the water? Wash it a 4th time.
But then the impurity's on that water.
No, why is it on that one? It washed away the previous water.
Why was there impurity left in the first time around?
That's what we learned. That in order to fully get rid of the impurity, you need to have 3 washings. It takes 3 times. This wild boar takes 3 bullets to kill.
Okay.
Every one of them weakens it a little
Then
bit.
where does the tumor come from that extra? Why do they do the fourth washing then? What if it was all covered in the three? Three did it? Am I missing something?
3 got rid of the tumor from the physical hand.
Yeah.
But where did it go? To the water. Where is the water of the third washing? Where is it?
Still on your hand?
It's on your hand. You gotta wash it off. Okay? That's why they do it.
But that water that you use to wash it off doesn't then become tumor again?
Okay, if you don't like the Gruz custom, that's fine. Let's continue. This was the Gruz.
Like Shmini Atzeret question. It's like, wait a second, you give it an extra day, but you're gonna be lonely after that.
Yeah, so this is the custom of sun. This is not the Chabad custom. We only wash 3 times. I just mentioned it that there are some people who wash 4 times based on that. Now, there is a difference. While everyone's in agreement on the number, and this is all juries in agreement on the number, that you need to do it 3 times in order to wash get rid of the impurity. Nonetheless, there is discrepancy between the Zohar and the Talmud regarding regarding how to do it. The Talmud doesn't mention, it says that you need to have 3 washings in order to get rid of the impurity, but it doesn't say that you have to do it in consecutive. You can do it like we wash for bread, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. However, in Kabbalah it states no. You have to have a special alternating washing to get rid of the impurity. You have to do 1, 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you did 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, it's no good. The tumah is still there. It only is gotten rid of if you do b'seir again. That is the ruling of the Zohar, and that is practically how we all rule today. That is how everybody does. It's based on the Arizal, by the way, that you need to do in consecutive. Now, a lot of people ask, so what happens if by bread I washed like this? I made a mistake. The answer is it's no mistake. There's no obligation when you wash by bread to wash 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. As long as you got your 1 or 2 or 3 times, depending on whatever custom you're following by the bread washing, I don't care how you did it. It's good.
Like the rest of the world does, or like a lot of the rest of the world does.
It's good. You don't have to do it like this. A lot of people make a mistake and say, oh, I washed for bread like I did in the morning. It's invalid. I have to wash again. It's nonsense. It's not true. You do not have to. However, what is true, that if in the morning you wash like you did for bread, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, it's no good. The tumah's still there. You got to wash again.
Because the tumah is, what does the alternation do to make it stronger?
Ask the Kabbalists. I have no idea.
Interesting.
This is their field. Why did the doctor say take this pill? I don't know. I'm just telling you that information.
Does anybody do less washing in the morning? Non-Kabbalistic way of washing?
Everybody does 3. I told you, the Litvish do even more. They do 4.
The morning.
The morning.
The morning.
Yeah, they do 4.
I thought the 4 was with bread.
No. The morning.
Okay, that's right.
The morning. The Alter Rebbe writes on the Siddur the following: thus, one must be very careful to pour the water on. Must be very careful to pour the water on each hand inconsecutively, even b'di'evet. Meaning, the Alter Rebbe takes this ruling of the Zohar and Kabbalah and says it's a factual halacha. It invalidates the washing if it's not followed, which is very interesting because usually, correct. Usually we don't, we respect Kabbalah, but we don't say it becomes halacha. In this case, the Alter Rebbe says no, it becomes actual halacha in this case.
This question. This is going back to previous classes, I guess. Like you said, your morning washing in bed is supposed to be before your feet have touched the floor.
That is true.
Okay, so you basically pull the thing up on your bed and...
That's based on a tradition of the Bezush of Ani Pele. That's a Hasidic tradition. That's not Kabbalah.
Okay.
And it's not halacha, basically.
It's not halacha, no.
Okay.
It's a Hasidic tradition that Hasidim follow. It has to do with energy and rooting yourself to the ground. We don't want to root our impure energy into the earth before we wash.
If I can dig up the video that we had on that Shiur, it's very complete, other things.
We'll discuss that. Okay.
Walking.
So let's go through this, the three washings. After pouring 1 time on the right hand, and then takes the vessel into his right hand, right? I was holding it here, so we then take it with the right hand, pour 1 time left hand, and then we repeat until we got it all 3 times done. Now, some people are careful. This is based on the Ben Ish Chai and Kaf Chaim. A lot of Svardim follow this. That they are very careful never to pass the vessel from the right to the left or left to the. They never pass it from the left hand to the right hand, because they never want to show that the left is in charge here. Left's the boss. So they'll put it down and they'll have the right hand take it. So they won't, finish washing now. No, put it down. That's what they do. They don't. They want to show the right. The right is always on top. You can learn a lot about politics from this. A lot of how to act in politics. Don't give in. Don't compromise.
Yeah. Teach it to the liberals.
Okay, next. Here's a question I brought over here like this. If one accidentally pour the water consecutively 3 times in each hand, what is he to do? So if you have more water available, then you do it properly. What if you don't? This is all the water I had. So I wrote over here that in such a case, you're allowed to say a bracha on the washing. Now, how is it possible? If the washing the altar is not valid, even b'diavad, how can you say a bracha?
The morning
Answer
washing
is,
have a bracha. What do you mean?
When I say morning washing, I'm referring to the second one that you do after the bathroom.
So Asher Yatzer is what you're talking about, that bracha.
After using the bathroom, before you say it, even before you say
you
it.
saying my brachas at some point later after that, it includes all this. I didn't realize that.
Yes,
That's
yes.
what it's for.
So that's the main washing. Again, we're washing by our bed to get rid of the tumah, but the main halachic washing that we're doing to follow all the laws of washing in the morning, just like bread, is happening after the morning, after the bathroom. Otherwise, we would have to wash with a towel, and bottom line is that we do it by the second washing. That's when we follow all the laws. So the question is, if no water available and you only do so, you can still say bracha. Why? Because even though we rule that to get rid of the impurity, you need to do 3 times consecutively, we agree that even if you did 3 consecutive washings, it got rid of some of the impurity. So if you still have water left, then you can't say bracha because you didn't finish the job. But if you have no water left, so you did the best that you could. And it's very interesting, this halacha, because it teaches us that God looks at a person based on his potential. So if he hasn't reached his potential in his service of him, then even though he's accomplished a lot, it's not good. He can't say a bracha yet. He hasn't finished. While a person who did a little bit, but that's his potential, God says you can say a bracha.
So about the procedure about the bracha, so you say Asher Yatzer afterwards, there's going to be an intervention of that right after you go to the bathroom, wash.
Go to the
and say
bathroom,
Asher Yatzer.
wash a second time. We didn't get up to that yet, but we're going to learn about that.
Right.
Since Simon Vav and
So
Zayin.
there's going to be a delay between the Almik and Sedayim is going to come.
No, the Almik Sedayim, you come into the bathroom, you wash your hands with Almik Sedayim, only then do you say Asher Yatzer.
Really?
Yes.
And then what about your morning brachas when Almik Sedayim is the first?
You don't do it again.
So when would you ever do that as part of the rest of the brachas?
If you don't mind, share with us what you've done until now. And I'll
Yeah,
tell you where
I
it's.
think what I've done is I've probably gone to the bathroom, said Asher Yatzer, and then when it's time to then, as quickly as possible, say the morning brachas, I start and say.
From Almik Sedayim.
Yeah.
But when do you wash hands for that Almik Sedayim?
I thought maybe.
Okay, so the proper way, this is the proper way of doing it. We're a little
bathroom.
skipping ahead because this is chapter 6.
Your name is the first thing here.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, but.
Before Asher Yatzer.
Yeah, but you wouldn't.
So
wanna
the
do
proper
that.
way you would listen, the proper way of doing is like this. This is based on what we're going to learn in Siman Vav, and that is, you're supposed to wake up. Well, first step is waking up, of course, and you wash hands next to your bed. You can't say a bracha by this washing, even if you wash the towel, because you need to use the
I'm
bathroom.
not jumping in out to sit down.
That's it.
I guess the Morani was.
Just wait. You cannot say a bracha at this stage because you need the bathroom. You can't say a bracha when you need the bathroom. So you go to the bathroom. But now that you've went to the bathroom, whatever preparation you did, you just destroyed because you went to the bathroom. You impurified your hands again. So you wash again properly with a towel right after you use the bathroom. If you want to get dressed in the meantime in the bathroom, you could. But the point is, you don't make a delay. You go right away to wash again.
Yeah.
And this time you wash with a towel, and you say a bracha of Alantir Yadayim, and only then do you say Asher Yotzer, and only then Alikan Hashem. You say all 3 in once.
Okay, so now, then you say what?
All 3 in one,
What's the
one
third?
after the other.
What's the third? What do you want?
Alikan Hashem. Those 3 that are written in the Siddur together,
What about the rest of the morning blessings?
whatever, say it later. You don't have to say it right away.
It comes packaged in that original sin I was
Look in the
taught.
Siddur. It's not, no, I'm telling you what the halach is. The halach is that those 3 have to be said together, okay? And they can't be delayed because Alantir Yadayim you're supposed to say right away. And ideally, you're supposed to say it as soon as you wake up and wash, but you couldn't because you went to the bathroom. So wash again right away and do it again.
So that chunk, those three things.
Yes, they're a package
following.
deal. They
Then
actually
Asher
happen
Yatzer.
right, like within 5-10 minutes of waking.
Then Asher Yatzer for that.
Correct.
bathroom.
Asher Yatzer is part of the package. It's a second
One,
bracha.
2, 3.
Asher Yatzer Yehuda is part of the package.
And Elokai Neshama.
And Elokai Neshama. Now, the rest of the morning blessings, you want to get yourself dressed first. You want to brush your teeth. You want to do something. No problem, do it, and then say the morning blessings. It's not as pertinent to say the morning blessings that second that you woke up. You can say it 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later. We are not going to say it right away, but it's not as right away
And again,
as the previous
the
package.
washing that you do right before Mitzvah Yadayim is cover you for the typical after the bathroom washing you
Correct.
normally do on any bathroom washing.
Correct.
It's interesting. It seems like it's a little, you're too impure to like jump into the Mitzvah Yadayim or something. Okay, interesting. I have been doing this, I think, off for.
I'll tell you the truth. A lot of people don't know this. Before I wrote this book, and obviously didn't know the information that I wrote, I also do a lot of things wrong. This is the basic. This is called awakening like a Jew. This is basic halachas that we take for granted that everybody knows, and not everybody knows. Yes, and that's why we're here. That's why we're learning.
Separate question. I have a friend who sometimes if it's getting close to Zman Sof Shema in the morning and he just wakes up, let's say first two psukim of Shema in bed before he even washes his
So
hands.
the answer is that if say Zman Kriya Shema is at 9 o'clock and he woke up at 8:59 and 30 seconds, then yes, he has no choice.
Okay.
Better to say Shema and fulfill the mitzvah deraisa than to not fulfill the mitzvah deraisa.
Okay.
But if he woke up at 8:59 with 60 seconds left, then he should wash hands first.
Okay, so it turns out I don't think it's been a problem. The only problem in the past is that no, you go to the bathroom, and then you have a whole lineup that includes you wash after the bathroom that has, or the kavana maybe of washing in the same, but the washing after the bathroom is typically looking like the altinasi that I am washing.
It is an altinasi that I'm washing. I mean, it looks like
It's the same. Okay, so it probably hasn't been a problem then, I don't think. And then you just go through all of them. You continue. You don't have to say the morning blessings the rest of them at that point, but you can, right?
Correct.
You do from Al Netilas Yadayim to the whole end,
Right.
the very end. Okay, so I think I have done it that way, frankly.
Okay.
Because that Yatra is right
Take
there
a
with
video of what you do
no,
tomorrow.
I'm sure of it now. It's just, I know. It might be.
And sometimes we get
But,
used to things.
but only when you get out of the bathroom.
You come out of the bathroom, you wash, and then you say, oh, you're right. Yeah, right.
Okay. How much of the hand, this is going to be our last one for the day, how much of one's hand must be washed? How much do you have to wash of the hand? So, in the laws of washing for bread, which we keep on saying it's the same for stringency, it's a big machlekes. Some say for bread you only have to wash up to here, up to the knuckles. Another say you have to wash here. The way we rule, lechatchila you have to wash till here, but if you didn't, it's valid if you wash till here.
Wrists, lechatchila, and knuckles, b'diavad.
Yes.
Not less, unless it's Yom Kippur, or unless it's Tishvat.
In Yom Kippur, yeah. Okay, so that's how you're supposed to wash. However, when it comes to the morning washing to get rid of the impurity, the Alter Rebbe rules in the Siddur based on the Arizal that you have to wash until here, and if you didn't, it's no good. In other words, he's more strict. Again, this is another case where we're more strict in the morning washing. Because again, the morning washing is getting rid of this special impurity, and the Kabbalists understood a little deeper of how to do it. And so they said that you have to do it till the wrist, otherwise the impurity doesn't leave. And this applies even to the Eved. It's no good if you didn't wash till this point.
What if you didn't have to go to the bathroom in the morning?
If
you would just
you don't have to go to the bathroom in the morning, then the halach is that you wash hands with a bracha by your bed.
If you have a towel, right?
You should try to have a towel, because if you don't have a towel, it's kind of difficult to maneuver following the detailed halachas of washing. Correct.
You couldn't just get up and after your morning impurity washing, you could just get up and whatever and do it and then say, wash again, the proper towel, the way of, wait a second. So the morning wash on the impurities could cover you for
The only reason why we delay the blessing from the first washing,
right,
because of the bathroom. So if you don't need to use the bathroom, then you're supposed to the bracha right
you
away.
just go right into, you can go right into.
Yeah, say all three right away.
Yeah. Okay, good. Understood.
Well, this is jumping material. This is what we're going to learn in the future in chapter 6. The only exception, as you mentioned, is Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur. We're in the morning, even in the morning, we only wash till here. And the reason is because on Tisha B'Av Yom Kippur, the impurity doesn't spread past here. On Yom Kippur, because there's so much Kedusha that it's not able to, there's a blockage. Bas Melech is whimpering, so it only reaches up to here. While on Tisha B'Av, it's full of so much impurity that it doesn't feel a need to go into the Jew so much. There's so much impurity already there anyways. It's spread down the
Oh,
spine.
boy.
Wow. So therefore, but what happens once Tisha B'Av Yom Kippur is over, the Kedusha is gone, the Tum is gone of Tisha B'Av, it then spreads back. So that's why we wash our hands again afterwards.
Wow. Bas Melech is a very holy sounding name for such a terrible thing.
Yes.
Daughter of the king Tumah.
Correct.
Impurity.
Hashem created Zelu Umazeh.
Okay.
10 spheres of Kedusha correspond to 10 spheres of Klippa.
Okay, and the
Adkan.
extreme. And the extreme.
You're welcome to